In this video, I'm going to show you the 3 best ways of using watercolor pencils. At least they're my favourite ways of using them. And we're going to be using them in combination with watercolor paints. This is where they are at their most beautiful and most versatile. And I'm going to give you real life painting examples of how I use these 3 techniques to really enhance my paintings. So the first way that I love to use watercolor pencils is to draw into wet paint, and this is an absolute game changer. So I'm going to show you 3 of the most common ways that I use it in my own paintings. Now the first one is for botanicals, for leaves and for petals. It's great for putting lines on. So let's have a look first of all at the idea of a leaf. So really I could use any colour to draw into my leaf. I could use something like a dark blue, which of course would look green once it hit the green paint. I could also use something a bit brighter. This is a good one for autumn leaves, and I could just go in like this and take my lines out. Now you always want to go up and out with things that are growing, because as you lift your pencil off the paper, it's going to taper the line, which is going to look more natural. You don't want to go outside in because you get very stubby lines that way. Now when it comes to the pencil itself, the sharper the pencil is, the thinner the line will be. So you can judge how thick or thin you want your line and just adjust your pencil accordingly. If it's too sharp, you can scrub it on a bit of paper. If you need a finer line, you can sharpen it. So it's fantastic for leaves, but it also looks great on petals. There are all sorts of flowers that have marks and lines on the petals, and although they can look quite strong, you generally find that they do have a soft edge to them, which means that you're going to get a much more naturalistic result. Let's imagine some kind of petal here. You're going to get a much more natural result drawing in with watercolor pencil rather than waiting until this petal is dry and going on with wet paint where you get quite a hard edged shape. So again, we can use this and we can draw our lines directly in like so. This technique is absolutely fantastic for botanical painting. Now the second way I like to use this technique is to make actual shapes of things. So let me give you some examples of that. So we could have things like bricks or roof tiles. Let's put some paint on here. I've got a dark grey here. Now if you imagine you're doing something like a little house in the distance, you can just see a few roof tiles. How easy is it just to pop them in with your pencil like this? You can be as detailed as you wish or as loose as you wish. You can imagine you can do something similar for tree bark. And what about for beaches where you've got things like pebbles? Let's take a lighter colour this time. And look how easily I can get pebbles in here. I can fill in the colour. I can do little dots. Let's get a darker colour as well. I can even outline rock shapes if I want to. I'll combine these colours together and get some beautiful natural beach effects. Of course, it works fantastically for pathways too. Lastly, for landscapes, what about things like grasses? I can draw those directly in. So that could be grasses a long way in the distance. I might have a field, for example, and I just want some very subtle little marks in the distance, maybe a few little blades of grass coming up. Or it could be in a foreground where we've got much more distinct, large grasses. Now this one is especially useful for when you're painting things like rivers and pathways where you've got reeds and long grasses growing at the front, or perhaps on a riverbank. And see how easily we can just take these grass shapes up. Again, I'm going up and out so that the lines taper. You don't have to use green either. You very often get these brown and ochre coloured grasses, more brightly coloured ones as well. So I've given you 6 examples here, but literally there are hundreds of ways that you can use your watercolour pencil to draw linear marks directly into your watercolour paints. If you are enjoying this video, can I ask you to do me a quick favour? Can you please click that like button, that thumbs up button? If you like, share, subscribe, or leave me a comment here on YouTube, all of these things are free. It will help my channel to grow and I can teach more people like you how to paint and draw. So the next way that I love to use watercolour pencils is to shave them onto the paper with a knife like this. Now splattering is one thing, but the thing with splattering is it always looks like splattering, and it's not always easy to control. This gives a much more natural look and it's very easy to control. So let me show you how it's done. So the first example of this that I might use pencil shavings would be for something like pollen dust. So let's paint a bit of a petal here. And then I'm going to get my knife and I'm just going to do this. And we get these lovely little natural pieces of pencil appear. It's an absolutely beautiful technique. Now, if you're a bit worried about using a knife like this, or you don't have a knife like this, what you can do is get one of those very fine old-fashioned metal tea strainers, and you actually just put this inside the tea strainer and rub it across, and you'll get the same effect of little bits of pencil falling onto your paper. The next way I love to use this is for beaches and pathways. So I showed you how we could do things like pebbles on beaches, but we could also combine with this technique. It can be really hard in watercolor to get texture. One way to do it is to use granulating paints, but there are lots of other things we can do as well, and this is a really great technique for getting just an impression of very fine marks, perhaps pebbles, something like that. Be sure to do it when the paint is nice and wet, otherwise it won't stick. And you're getting this beautiful natural texture effect. It's so easy to do. Now, another great use for this technique is in backgrounds. And we have a distinct advantage here compared to using splattering. And that is that this is only going to stick to wet paper. So, for example, if I had a heart like this, I might have painted it. It might be dry, or it might just be white paper like this. I'm going to take some paint around the outside, and I want to get a bit of texture around the outside as well. So let's put this wet paint on first. So I'm working on dry paper here, so the heart in the middle is staying dry. As I said, we could have painted that already in a different colour, but we'd be working with it dry now. I'm taking this wet paint around the outside, and now I want to get some texture around the outside like this. We could concentrate it around the heart itself, almost to look like stardust. Now, some of this has gone in the middle here, but the advantage of this over splattering is that when this is dry, if I tip it over a dustbin and just tap it, all of the stuff in the middle is going to just fall off the paper because there's nothing sticking it there. Or I could get a dry brush and brush it away. But if I'd splattered that with paint splatters, then they'd be in the middle as well, and I wouldn't be able to get rid of them. So my next favourite way of using watercolour pencils is for shading and blending. Now I'm going to level with you. You can probably get a better result with watercolours alone when it comes to putting shadows on things and blending things if you are very good at watercolour painting and you have a lot of control. If you don't have a lot of control, if you struggle to paint neatly, or if you struggle to get things like graduated and blended shadows and washes, then you're going to find that watercolour pencils give you a lot more control. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to put a little bit of shadow under this object, and I can just shade like this. I haven't got the drama of worrying that it's going to dry out before I get a chance to blend everything properly. I can add more than one colour if I want to. And then when I've got it just how I want it, I can add my water. Now, it's important when you do something like this to add your water from the outside in. If you take the water from the inside out, you're going to end up with a hard edge because you're just going to drag a pigment down. So what we're going to do is we're going to put the water outside of the area first, and then we're going to bring it in. So I'm going to put the water around the outside all the way along, and then I'm going to start coming in. And in this way I can get some lovely shadow, and I've got complete control over my brush, and it's just going to blend out nicely into that area of water we've put outside. If you ever feel it's going too far, clean your brush and then start bringing it back in. Next, I've drawn a post, and I can use my watercolour pencils to get shadow along one side of it and to show up the three-dimensional nature of it. It's much quicker and easier than going in with paint. So I've got a nice natural brown here, and I can just come down. You can see that I went outside the line there. Well, I can neaten that up, and I can just bring some shadow areas across. I and come around the top here so that I get an impression of the 3 dimensions of this. Now, if I wanted to, I could leave it quite rough and ready like that. We get quite the impression of rustic wood, don't we? But if I did want it smoother, all I've got to do is just go back in with my paintbrush, again going outside in, working towards that area of watercolor pencil, and I can leave that as smooth or as rough as I want it. So lastly, I've got a petal here, and again I want some colour down the base of this. I want some sort of shadow, some purple area. So I'm going to go in here and just start drawing with this. It's important if you're doing these smooth areas of shadow that you keep your lines very light. You don't want to press hard, because if you press hard you'll end up getting areas of straight lines in it which won't come out because you've dented the paper. So keep your marks light here. Let's have a little bit of purple in this as well. If you try these techniques and you find that your pencil is just not dissolving at all, it may be because your watercolour pencils are on the cheap side. Now, pencils like that are great for those linear drawing techniques, pencils that don't blend out very much. Don't throw them away, because they're actually great for doing things like grasses where you don't need them to blend much. But if you're doing these blended techniques and you find that they're not spreading out very well, it's usually to do with them being slightly cheaper on the pigment end. Again, we're going to start up here with clean water and work in. And then as we come in here, this area starts to get activated and you get some beautiful effects. You can actually take your paintbrush if you want to and drag that paint further up, maybe along the edges or anywhere that you see it. And we can get these beautiful blended techniques. As I said, I would personally do this technique with paint because it's faster and easier for me. But if you really struggle with controlling your paintbrush or controlling these smooth washes, you're going to find this a fantastic alternative. Thank you so much for watching this 3 essential tips video. Before you leave this video, don't forget to have a look in the video description. I've got lots of free stuff down there for you. I've got free downloadable PDFs with art tips on. I've even got a free watercolor painting mini course that you can take. Don't forget to subscribe to see more videos like this one, and you can watch another one of my videos right now.